Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on? You're probably wondering, where on earth is Tino? Bitcoin has been doing some mad behavior today. So I thought, let me take some moments and try and get you guys updated with what has been happening. Okay, firstly, I want to thank every single one of you amazing people for wishing my daughter well for her birthday. She's had a great day. She's now getting finalized. She's going to be going to sleep, hopefully. But man, boy, it has been an interesting day, to say the least. But thank you all, and mad love and respect to every single one of you people. I've seen all your comments, and God bless every one of you. But let's have a conversation about Bitcoin and what can we expect from Bitcoin coming into the weekend. Okay? So look, firstly, let's go back to this morning's video where we were talking about finding volatility in the charts. Okay? Now, in this video, I was talking about the idea of where Bitcoin could likely go and how can we exploit these situations. Okay? Now, remember, you're dealing with the realm of uncertainty. Now, what's important is this. You've got past information now. You can look back and say, right, this is what Bitcoin was doing beforehand. This is what Bitcoin has done. Okay? How can I learn from that? Well, let's look at the logic. Many people are claiming for the idea of a bearish flag. Happy days. So let's look at it like this. Thousands of people are waiting for a bearish flag. Okay? Now, not all those guys are all going to be trading with the same capital. You might have 1% of those guys that have a trading account of more than $1 million. You might have 50% of those accounts, okay, of those people that have less than 10,000. Ultimately, there's liquidity that is trying to be pushing a narrative into the charts at the hope that it's going to play out in their favor because there appears to be a flag. Now, I'm going to get to what price action is doing right now, but this is really important. Look at the chart. It's so critical that when you're looking into what price action could do, you only have what you see. Okay? Now, what I was talking about in this video was this. As it stood, this W formation was holding because that's all I could see. What would I need to see for it to be invalidated? It would need to come back down into this area here and break it. That's what it would need to do. But price is here. So I need to focus on what's going on here. What do I need to be paying attention to nearby? Remember, I'm a day trader. I'm not looking for Bitcoin to go all the way to 50. I'm not looking to it to go all the way down to 30. I'm interested in Bitcoin testing key zones in the chart. That's what the hybrid system's about. I'm predominantly a scalper. However, can I take advantage of any day trades? So in this video, we were talking about the idea that if Bitcoin does break higher, where can we expect it to go? We can see previous structures here, here, and here, which was yesterday's high. Okay? Price is holding, big green vector candle, and then we apply the hybrid. We then say to ourselves, what if it comes back to here? What would I need to see? I'd need to see price aggressively breaking down, vector candles coming in, and trading away from the moving averages. At what point do you get in? That's going to be based on your confidence to make a decision and say, I think it's going to go lower. So you pay to play. Yeah? We then have structures down below. The wicks. If we believe that price is going to come back to these wicks, then we place our trade and wait for the narrative. If you had placed a trade to go short, you may have experienced a bit of drawdown, which is why the benefit of not using leverage gives you the flexibility to allow Bitcoin to move. So now let's go to the actual chart itself. Look at what had happened. Bitcoin hit yesterday's high. We had the stop hunt low, where they had come into the previous green vector zone. They showed support at the daily open by the utility of the stopping volume candle. Right there. You see that little blue candlestick? Happy days. They then marked price up and came to zone 1. Zone 2, zone 3, yesterday's high achieved. Now, when you see this sort of push to the upside, if they can achieve 1 point, naturally, you're going to anticipate, could they actually take out the next point? Which is why we always say, pay yourselves. Because this thing happened. Whenever you're coming to a situation when it just looks like everything could go in your favor, be prepared to accept that it won't. That's variance. Variance is something that will always be present in trading, ladies and gentlemen. You can have variance in your favor where you place 100 trades and you win 90% of the time. You could have also variance where you place 100 trades and lose 90% of the time. We then see price break down. They take zone 1, return of the vector. Zone 2, zone 3. They even take zone 4, and then they came all the way back down, initiated a stop hunt low, and then shot back up into the range. This candle only a few moments ago was all the way up here. So, let's make the assumption. All the guys that were trading the bear flag, okay, had all their orders fulfilled. Let's look at it like this. Let's say they've done this, okay, from the low here and marked it up, right? Look at how many times they've been shaken out. It's frightening, isn't it? It's like they know that people are looking for this pattern. They're waiting for satisfaction. They're waiting for it to be fulfilled. Look at how many times they had thrown those traders off their guard, thinking that the pattern is failed or not. Look how they initiate the stop hunt. They sharply move it down. They trigger all the guys to play the principle of the bearish flag. They're getting in. Happy days. They instantly reverse it back up into the range. They even go back into yesterday's high. They hit yesterday's high twice. So all those guys that had open shorts, they allowed them to open the shorts, which is why we use structure. Look at them coming back into this zone. 1, this zone. 2, this zone. 3. And then they even came into this zone right here. 4. Before they then reversed back out. This was such a manipulated move, and it was a controlled move at the same time as well. Look at the precision and the accuracy in the sense where they had worked the range, came into this zone, came to this zone and this one, and finalized at this point before they actually come all the way back up and shaken out all the guys that had been running to move price down. Then they came all the way back down again, and now they've come back into the structure. So what happens now, guys? Where are we at with the bear flag? What do we say now? Because the structure has been invalidated. They've sharply come down and then they've sharply moved back up. What if Bitcoin now finalizes the move back up again and stays in this range? What happens? Now, whether this move was related to news or not is completely irrelevant. Ultimately, they came into the structures. They made the traders believe that this was going to play out. And it did. But for how long? Because the guys that would see this flag would then say, right, I want it to go down lower. But then they shot it back up again. Most of the traders that had gone short in this area were going short on probably on 100x. And all their stops were placed all in this zone, which is why they held it at yesterday's high. Because no one was of the belief that price could go higher. Okay? Now, I've been waiting for this W formation to play out in Bitcoin. I was waiting for it to finalize in this zone here. So if I mark this up, I was waiting for it to finalize here. As long as it didn't break beyond this point, we would have still a valid structure. Price then comes all the way back into it. Price then shifts back out. Now it's gone even lower. And now it's come back into the range. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, they have bullied traders today. They have done a very good job of bullying traders. Now, what can we expect Bitcoin to do next, ladies and gentlemen? This is the $100 million question. What can we expect Bitcoin to do from now? Now that we're going into the weekend, we have to pay close attention to this range yet again. Bitcoin, now that, of course, the markets are coming close towards closing, got maybe a couple of hours or so, they may just drift price down lower. One of the contributing factors to Bitcoin just moving down and up and what have you, of course, is the issue with dollar yen. It moves up aggressively, come back down again, now it's holding. This is phenomenal behavior by dollar yen. 130 for dollar yen, that could be something that happens if they don't break down. And it's starting to get a bit concerning. I'm waiting for shorts for dollar yen. Waiting. Started building a few last night. So I'm waiting before I start finalizing and start putting down some more size to capitalize on the move back down towards this point right here, which is the 123. I'll talk about building positions another time. So let's have a look at a couple of coins that I spoke about today in terms of volatility. We were looking at Seller, and we were trying to establish the idea of volatility. Okay? At this point in the chart, at the release of the video, this is where price was at. Okay? They came up into this zone and we were expecting a clean break of the range. We marked off our zones where we would anticipate price to come through if they broke the range. And this is where the hybrid system can help you. Look at how the big green vector candle comes in. Naturally, traders will be seeing that as a bullish candle for higher prices. But because we didn't get the confirmation candle following through, and if you notice, this candle was a stopping volume candle and came deep into this candlestick as well. Look, this volume came deep into this area here. Okay, so the stopping volume candle principle came into play. Then they simply reversed it all the way back down. Now we have got this situation where we are now in a much bigger pattern. Okay, and then we've got a smaller pattern in this zone. It's crazy to think that Bitcoin today has formed this wild movement in today's session. And it's actually not gone anywhere. Look, we're back into the same range. And it's like the market maker in principle knows what people are trying to trade because he can work it out based on the amount of orders that are being filled in this zone. It's crazy how they come up to the upside to take out the liquidity that was triggered here for guys who have been going long. And then they came down and recovered the vector zone, this point, and this point right here, aggressively with notable volume, come down, recover the wick near enough, and then sharply move back up. It's a manipulative play. They're preparing for something. Again, they've had every reason to go down lower today, and they haven't. But look at where they went. You hear me talk about it in the streams all the time. They will push price to points in the chart where they will attack structures where they can trigger interest by the retail trader. Look at that green vector candle right there. They've come back and recovered it. So if we look at the wick on that point right there, so I'll mark it off for you. Look at this point, and then look at this point. And we go over to the chart, and you can see that we now have full recovery of that range. That was the range that they had triggered interest for the retail trader. Okay? Because that's when they last moved price. They stayed within the structure. Because the structure down at 41,719, if you look right, you can see they didn't go too deeply into that area. So this is probably where most of the liquidity had been transacted at that point in time. We can even go a deeper level on this, and we can pull up the volume profile, and we can say, well, what was going on at that point in time? So if we go back, we're likely to see what? the recovery of this vector candle is in this high volume node. They come down into this area here, which happens to be in this value area high principle. Okay. And each point of control that they've been going into has now triggered the interest to move price back up. Look where they are right now. 43,017 is sat at this point of control. They're around high volume nodes right here now. Yeah? The market has a very good memory, ladies and gentlemen. And if they can trigger price to do something from one point to the next, regardless of however long ago it was, people are always going to do something at these points. Now, with Bitcoin as it is right now, we're going into the weekend. Price is trading now on the hourly below the 50 EMA. We have been dropping to the downside, okay? And this manipulative play by Bitcoin, bringing it back down and then coming straight back up into the range, sort of gives us more information, okay? Because now we've got these 2 points in the chart right here that price may even try and attempt to come back up to during the weekend, and then coming into the start of the week next week, we may see more downside volatility. Because why? We've got a wick right here. So if they don't recover this wick sooner, we're likely to see them move price up and then try and come back into the range. Okay? So for the weekend, guys, I always like to advise, just be cautious, because you won't be getting that much volatility. Yes, the Miami conference is on. Someone could step on there, say something which could cause a reaction. Fine. If you're going to try and trade that, you use the lightest amount of capital, because you're all about trying to establish execution. Okay? Making money comes afterwards. Get the idea of making the solid entry, then happy days. Rinse and repeat. Okay? If they're going to bring price even further up, ladies and gentlemen, look, we're dealing with a specific range right here. Okay? On the 1 hour time frame, the 50 hasn't crossed over the 800. That would just be an indication that the momentum is showing strength. Before you even consider taking a long, you have to wait for price to break up to this structure here. If you're feeling like you want to go short and Bitcoin's going to start coming down to recover this next point in the chart, which sits at the 41,719, which is the final green vector candle zone from the last time that they had moved away from the lows, all right? Then what you'd be looking for in terms of shorts is you'd be looking for them to do the following. You'd be expecting them to try and recover back up from today's price action, stabilize, okay? Few hits to the high, few hits to the low, back into the range, and then try and make their way to recover this point. When they try and recover this point right here, guys, if they can break it down with volatility the same way they did today to this zone right here, okay, you will then end up seeing a repeat of what happened here. So in other words, you see them break down lower. Now they're trying to come back up. They may stabilize and move price up and down for a bit before they may try and attack the lower end of this range. Okay? Based on how Bitcoin has done this in the past, ladies and gentlemen, we may get Bitcoin forming this structure. All right? But again, now that it's the weekend, whatever they do from now until Sunday night will be designed for them to mimic what they plan to do for the rest of the week. If Bitcoin does stay in this zone after this price action, then we are likely to see higher price action. But it has to stay in this structural zone. And it has to be beyond the 42,456. It has to stay within the high of 43,982 from now until Sunday. Because if it does break either of these ranges, it will then all be about the retrace, because the retrace will prove the point. Okay? Look at that. Can you see this? They drop down, the retrace back up, continuation to the downside. The principle's there. Likewise, when you see price do the following, if they can break down from this zone, the retrace back up is going to give you the information. If they falter at the 50 EMA, we expect them to come back down again. If we anticipate higher prices, then they will stabilize in this range over the weekend. The concerning thing that I have is we may see lower price because of this wick. So you say, Tino, yeah, man, just tell me when to enter. When can I go long? When can I go short? I've given you the ideas. There's a structure here and there's a structure here. How much is it going to cost you to realize a return based on either of these structures being hit? What reasons will you be entering? What time frame will you be making your decision on? I'm talking about the hourly. What if you make your decisions on the 5-minute time frame? Well, you go onto the 5-minute time frame and you'll be focusing on these core fundamentals. Where's price in relation to the moving average? Well, we've had price with volatility to the downside. We anticipate a retrace back into the range. Bang, they've come back into the range. We've got this blue vector candle right here, which they may even look to try and recover and come back up. After all of this price action today, Bitcoin would probably likely end up closing positive for the day. That's crazy. We've got another 4 more hours until a new daily candle anyway. So that's plenty of time for Bitcoin to creep up towards the 43,400 zone. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? Or would we expect anything different from Mr. Market Maker? No. Will you base your decisions on the 1-minute time frame? Because frankly, you don't need to care about where Bitcoin's going to go. All you're looking for is expansion of moving averages and price to move back into them. Yeah? Look at what's going on here. We've got ourselves a big red vector candle zone, which price can actually make its way into because the liquidity will be triggered there. The big push to the downside earlier on, stopping volume candle. Bang! They brought it all the way back in. So you've got to make the decision. Find a zone in the chart that you think you can profit from. Mark off the structure. Where's the vector candles? What's the volatility saying? And then take your trade, ladies and gentlemen. Because no one's going to do it for you. This is a misconception in trading that people get wrong all the time. They think they can just go onto YouTube, listen to one guy talk about something, and hope that he's going to come with the Holy Grail, and you're going to just go and buy based on what you believe what you think he's trying to say, and then it doesn't do exactly what you think it does, and then you come back and you say, yeah, but you said. Why are you in the game of trading? Don't come to trading if you're looking for someone else to do it. You'll be looking for signals. Go and pay someone. That way you're not spending time on YouTube and you're not being presented with different narratives. I cater for holders, scalpers, day traders, swing traders. Of course my narrative is going to change continuously. I'm on the 1-minute time frame. I was only a minute ago on the 5-minute time frame. A few moments ago I was on the hourly. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? There we go. Recovery of the red wick. Vector candle, sorry. Triggering the interest. Volatility coming in. This system can be learned. This system can be applied. But I'm telling you now, it's all down to your ability to make a conviction, set your risk parameters, and then let the trade take its course. Before you even take a trade, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know how much money you're going to lose, you ain't going to stand a chance. And that's me being straight with you. Always know how much you are going to lose, because if you know how much you're going to lose, you're not going to get caught up in that madness of whether you should close the trade or not, because you have the fear of your trade being closed and it goes in your favor. Guess what? If you know how much you're going to lose, you ain't going to be putting yourself into that mindset, which means that you'll be able to cut the trade, change direction, and then catch the move that you should be catching. Yeah? I hope that puts things into perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I know I've been talking a bit more about Bitcoin right now as opposed to any other coins, but I will be doing a video for you guys over the weekend just to see if we have seen any volatility in the charts. I hope you guys haven't been shaken out of your trades. I hope if anyone did take advantage of the the bear flag, that you actually managed to take some money off the table, given that it only broke out ever so slightly of the range and then came straight back into it. I really do hope people paid themselves. And I know we have a bit of a laugh and a joke about bullish flags, bearish flags and what have you. I don't use them. Okay, I look at more of the psychology of the way price moves, because price will only move if someone's committing to liquidity. That's how it moves. A candlestick is present because there's money there, not because there's a bull flag or a bear flag. Remember that. the static structures that we come to the charts and try and fulfill, okay, and hope that they play out, are only going to play out if the liquidity is present, okay? They don't form because people believe it's going to be a bearish flag or a bullish flag. Now, don't get me wrong, they do play out. You know, I'm not going to knock them completely. Sometimes they play out really well. But here is an example of today when the narrative was showing that it's a bearish flag, bearish flag, bearish flag, and the bearish flag came into fruition and they sharply shifted it back out again, threw everyone off course, dropped it all the way down, and brought it straight back into the range yet again. Welcome to the hardest, easiest way to make money, ladies and gentlemen. Have yourselves a wonderful evening, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Peace.